Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Bokeh Time. I'm your host, Michael Ballesteros.
And I'm your co-host, Jonathan Orozco.
And on today's episode, we have a guest with us. Her name is Ren. I already forgot how to...
D'Anelli.
D'Anelli.
That's it, D'Anelli.
D'Anelli. She is a filmmaker, and she's our guest for today. Hi, Ren. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So the reason I ended up asking you to be on this podcast is because we have like kind of a mutual friend.
Do we? Who is it?
Big Guns Mike. Mike.
Oh, I love Mike.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because
Yeah.
Fellow Robot. So
Yep.
like I do some stuff for Fellow Robot, and then I saw that they hired you to do some some pictures for them, and I thought they looked super sick. And then I was like, oh, who's that? And I saw that it was you, and I was like, follow. So yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That was a really fun shoot to do.
I was so jealous.
Yeah. I love those guys so much. I've known John Zell since forever. And
talking about John, didn't he come out in I feel like I'm a little loud here. Okay. Wasn't John in a music video you directed of Taylor Crawford?
yes, he played the dad in Walk Straight by Taylor Crawford.
And his wife came out too, right?
Yeah, they were both the parents.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know them because of her. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, like when I met them all like around that time when I did her music video.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And was Taylor the first person that you did a music video for?
She was.
She was.
Yeah, she was my first like real client in that sense, and I was still in college at the time, and I was like, wow, this girl wants me to make her a thing.
Yeah.
So then we made the thing.
Yeah. And then you also directed that other music video of hers. I've Destroyed the World.
I've just destroyed the world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was sick.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mostly stock footage, but it was something that she really felt passionate about. And it was something that I was so excited to be a part of, to make happen for her, because it was about climate change and saving the world, and it was for Earth Day. And it was a cover. Yeah, it was a really impactful thing to make.
Yeah. I'm sort of friends with Taylor. Yeah, she's super talented. Like she doesn't give herself enough credit.
I love her so much.
She has like this fun energy, and then like she's super talented. Like,
she is unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
the world has no idea what's coming for them right now. She's making some really cool stuff. We've got another project on the way.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about it yet though. 'Cause
Okay.
there's,
Not
like,
yet. Not yet.
It is way too soon, but
Okay.
so much is coming, and
Yeah.
I'm just like in awe of her all the time.
Yeah, she's super cool.
Yeah.
And so it was because of Taylor that you got in connection with Fellow Robot?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. And then when I worked with them, like when was that? Like in the fall last year or so. That's when I met Mike and everyone else.
Big Guns Mike.
Yeah. So, and he's so cool. He's a Star Trek fan, and so am I. Huge Star Trek fan. So as soon as we found out that about each other, we were like, whoa, friends.
Yeah, I remember the first time I met Mike, we were both kind of awkward. And then like, I forgot what happened. I think he started working out. I feel like he's always been working out, but he's been working on his like biceps and stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna call you Big Guns Mike from now on. And he was like, I love that. And then like, we were friends ever since. And then like just the fact that we're both named Michael,
Yeah.
that's already a connection.
Yeah, I know a couple Mikes. I think that's a sort of a common name.
I don't know.
I know one or two.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You made it. It's like, I know a lot of Mics. Like, oh, okay.
No, but like you make it your own. Like
Yeah,
that's
totally.
that's what sets you apart from all the other Mikes. It's like you're like, I'm Mike, but like I'm Mike.
Okay.
You got Big Gun Mike. You got,
Yeah, for sure. I just call myself Michael, like, and then I just call Big Guns Mike, Big Guns Mike. But he's like,
shit.
oh, you're good.
Just break things.
He's just an awesome guy and a super talented musician too.
Oh my God. Unbelievable guitarist. It blows my mind.
So I guess before we continue the conversation, I guess can you give us a little bit of background on yourself besides that you went to Cypress College?
Yeah. I actually have a lot to my story.
Okay. We have time.
Cool. Well, I started off, I was born. I'm kidding. I won't go that far back. But I started off wanting to be, I always wanted to be a director. That was something that has been part of my life as long as I can remember. Like, I remember sitting and watching movies with my dad and wanting to watch the behind the scenes and just watching like George Lucas or Steven Spielberg talk about what they're doing and feeling like, ooh, is that a job? can I do that job? Because I want to do that job.
Yeah.
And that was really fun to do as a young kid watching that stuff. Gather my thoughts. I'm like thinking about 1,000 things at once. Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Huh?
Can I ask you a question
Yes.
if that helps? What was there one particular movie that was just like,
Movie?
yeah, that was just like, I want to do that.
Gosh, no.
It's probably one of the Star Wars ones.
I did love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. I watched a lot of sci-fi with my dad, and like those were all the things that really jump-started my interests.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got older, and I was watching TV when I was like sick or something once. And I remember watching Shaun of the Dead for the first time.
Okay.
And being introduced to Edgar Wright. And so that style of filmmaking and directing was what like made me really want to do that thing. I was like, oh, that's so funny and so interesting. And I love what he's doing with like the way he's telling a story.
Yeah.
And that it's comical and interesting still. So I kind of went that direction. But then when I went to high school, I went to a culinary. It was like a vocational school.
Okay.
And I chose culinary as my major. And so I spent 4 years studying like how to be a chef because I thought I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
You know, when you're like 16, you're like, yeah, I'm going to do all this stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So I did. I pursued that for a little while. While I was in high school, I was still making videos, and I made like parody rap videos that no one will ever see, I hope, who hasn't already seen it from like high school. So I used to do a lot of that. I always thought it was funny when I look back now. I spent all this time in high school where I should have been studying cooking, making videos. And like spent all this time in my other classes being like, can I make a video about this instead of an essay? Like, but after I graduated, I went to LA. I got a job in a kitchen, like a pretty high-end fine dining place. And I was a pastry cook for like 5 weeks and got promoted to sous chef.
Oh, that's super cool.
I was 19.
Wow.
Yeah, which is like, it's kind of a thing. But then shortly after I got injured and then I got fired.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then after all of that, I was like, fuck this. I'm going to go back to college and just be a director because I've always wanted to do that. And my plan B failed so spectacularly. So let's just go back to plan A. So then I went to Cypress College.
And you said you got injured. Did you get injured on the job?
I did.
What happened, if you don't mind me asking?
So this isn't real. My hand. No, I'm kidding. Like it's a really good replica. I know. No, I actually don't know what happened because I was sent to a few doctors and they were like, we don't know what happened when we don't believe you, honestly, which sucked. But I think something happened with like a nerve. I just remember sitting like on my foot while I was stirring something in a really big mix, like stand mixer, the giant ones. And it felt like something tore. And I was in so much pain, but I had to work. Like I had shit to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't care, so I kept working. And by the time I got home that night, my foot was so swollen. It was like 3 times the size of the other one.
Wow.
It was some of the worst pain I've ever felt. And I did not know what to do. So I went to doctors. They made it worse the first time I went in. They wrapped it up and made it like swell more. Yeah. And I was like, wow, you're smart. Thanks. And then,
intense.
yeah. So long story short, it just didn't work out.
Okay.
And I'm not mad about it. I don't have the passion for culinary like I do art in the way that I do it now. So I'm glad I found that out before I wasted too much time.
Yeah, for sure. So if anything, there was just like a miracle blessed in disguise, I guess.
Yeah, sort of. Like it was not fun to go through.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had spent so much time pursuing something that was just like a waste, you know. But I learned a lot and I have some like cool skills. So I can bake stuff.
You have some awesome skills. Well, as far as directing, I don't know about your cooking skills.
Well, I'll bake you something.
Okay, cool, for sure. And then so speaking about Cypress College, so you had on YouTube, you had 4. Is it 4? Yeah, you have 4 short films. Mm-hmm. Which one was your favorite?
Well, Womanhood is my favorite.
I thought it was something separate. Like in terms of like Cypress College of your short films.
Oh, that was separate. Oh, you're talking about only the college ones?
Yeah, because now we're just in Cypress College.
Okay.
We're moving along your history.
I see.
Yeah.
I just saw one Womanhood before you got here.
Oh,
that's the one I told him to watch because it was super dope.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. You know, the very first short film I ever made was Vu. Mm-hmm. And it's like the typical art house. I am a director, like black and white, like so annoying. But it was something different. I feel like I was telling a really strange sort of story about yourself.
Okay.
And the 2 sides of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't fully understand the concept, which was fine. But I still won Best Director that year at the film festival. So I felt like I was doing something all right. Mm-hmm. And it was my first jump into like, maybe I can do this. So I do love that one because of that.
And so in that one, so the 2 different characters are the same person?
Yeah.
Okay.
So some people take it as a love story, which is fine. You can take it however you want to. But what I was trying to tell was how when something happens to you, there are 2 sides to yourself. Mm. And when you kind of become disconnected from yourself in that way, like left and right brain, or like you know what I mean, right?
I know what you mean.
I mean, everyone has more than 2 sides, but I just kind of narrowed it down. So it's like when those 2 parts of you become disconnected, you have to work to figure out how to reconnect them. Okay. So that's how the very end of the short, it says pull yourself together. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was going for with it. Okay. Yeah. But some people think it's like a breakup, and that's fine too, if you want to see it that way.
I kind of saw it as a mixture of a combination of both. Okay. As a combination of like each person going through something traumatic, whatever it may be, and then them eventually going through like the rough patch and then eventually finding themselves again.
That's great too. Okay. Yeah, that's something I love about storytelling and filmmaking and art in general, is that I may have made it for a certain reason for myself. Yeah. But if someone else can get something out of it and it helps them, then that's totally what it's for. Like that's totally what it's about now. It's all yours. Take whatever you can from it. Like, okay. I'm not going to get mad if you didn't understand what it meant to me, because it meant something to me and I'm done with it. It's like, that's been fulfilled. You know? I mean, if someone really doesn't understand the story at all and it's like really incorrect, I might say something about it. But like, if you get you take whatever you can from art, and that's what's the most important, I think. Yeah. Yeah. And like, I like the use that you use for like the 2-liter and the boiling pot. Oh, that was super cool. Yeah. Bottling up. Yeah. It was just like all this tension building up, and then eventually it's just like release. Let it go. Yeah. That was pretty cool. I kind of forgot about that. I haven't watched these in a really long time. Maybe I should have done my own research on myself. On yourself? Today. Yeah. It's always funny too, because like the guests that come on the show, they're like, so what do I need to, like, how do I prepare? I was like, you don't prepare. I mean, it's you. Like, how do you prepare yourself with yourself? I should have called my mom or something. Like, oh my God. I should have just stared at the mirror for like an hour. Who am I? Yeah, cool. And then at the end of that, that's what I understood, like the black line dividing the 2 characters as like a mirror almost, and them looking at themselves. Okay. Being content. Is that the way I saw it? I love that interpretation. Yeah. But that was mine. And then, so the one you did after that was Coffee Trip. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I liked about it is it had an almost like Groundhog Day vibe to it. That's what I was going for. Okay. Yeah. It was my attempt at like a little sci-fi, a little comedy, a little bit of just like a strange thing. Yeah. And I thought it would be, I thought it was funny, honestly. Like, I enjoyed it a lot. I was laughing more than anything. Oh, I'm glad. And like the music really helped like project that like humor
and that
Yeah.
energy to it.
The guy who does my music in my early films, I met him at college. His name's Jonathan Richmond, and he's a film composer, and he's now like a working film composer.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm just so proud of him. I'm like, oh my God, you used to do my little short films in college, and now look at you. You know, he's so cool.
Shout out to John Scores on Instagram.
Yeah, that's the one.
See,
At John Scores.
Do my research. And then another thing that I liked about it was the last scene. It was like almost like breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
That was just like awesome. It was just like, oh shit, he's looking at me. Don't look at me. Like,
yeah, like, oh.
I'm looking at you. Yeah.
It's fun to play with things like that. I feel like that may have been part of an assignment that involved it. What was that?
That's my co-host's phone breaking for the 10th time.
I'm still trying to get over this damn sickness.
Okay. So it's a good thing we brought you tea then.
Yeah,
Because I was like,
thank you.
you came in with your own water. I was like, do I give you tea? Do I not give you tea?
I always have my
Yeah.
water bottle.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Always awesome stickers, by the way.
thanks. This was my first attempt, and I didn't plan it out as well as I could have, but it's cute.
I like the
fun.
little, that's a corgi, right?
Yeah, it's a cute little corgi. And mostly they're cats. I have a lot of cat
Okay.
stickers. That one's my favorite.
That reminds me of Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. I love Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, that's my favorite show. And then so after Coffee Trip, you had Ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
What gave you the idea to try to like Tarantino yourself into your films?
You noticed that, huh? I just think it's fun. I don't have any agenda when I insert myself into something. Also, it's most likely because I didn't have enough bodies or people. So
Okay.
I'm doing like 3 jobs behind the camera, and then I'm like, I want an extra in that scene really bad. I'm like, I'm gonna walk through it real quick. Where do I show up in this one?
When she ends up going to like, she's like on Main Street or something. She's walking down, and then you come to the left, and then she sees like the same depiction on the
Okay.
candle on the storefront on
Fun
the right hand
fact.
side. Okay.
Fun fact here. That whole scene with the girl with the really long red hair,
The red hair, yeah.
I played that role in the first version of this film.
Okay.
That it will never be seen. But I actually put myself as a character, and I was her. And I watched it back, and I was like, no, I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
let's get someone who's a real actor. So I got my friend Heather to play that role, which was way better because it was a really kind of over the top role, and I'm like, oh God.
And when it came to like these student films, did they give you like as much freedom as you like, or did you have to fulfill a certain criteria?
Certain ones I had to fulfill a criteria. I can't remember and what the prompts were for all of those projects, but I know that I always did way more than I was supposed to. They were
That's
usually
good.
a little longer than needed, or more intricate than needed. I would put a lot of work and time into my projects when I really didn't have to, but I wanted to.
What's the first step you take into doing a film?
It depends on what it depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes it'll be storyboarding. Sometimes it's just the script. Sometimes it's not even a script. It's like a list of things that I want to do, or a scene written out. It usually starts there, though. Something written.
And then was it difficult in that Ordinary short film to film in the perspective of someone's eyes almost?
Yeah, it was a point of view thing, and it was really hard. My cameraman was always like, you want me to what? Like, just like lay on the ground and then move the camera like you've been slapped across the face. And he's like, what? And I'm like, no, just let me do it. So then I did it and showed them, and then they executed it properly. But it was an idea that I had to really make the audience almost physically feel what my main character is feeling. I wanted her, because it's mostly flashback scenes. I wanted you to like be in her head and feel what was happening to her, so that you could relate in a more, just in a deeper way.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I was really hoping would carry across.
It did. It really put you in the perspective of the main character in the film. And then I also kind of liked the scenes of like when she's in the bathtub and you're just kind of like looking at her, you're just observing. So like you're sitting there, but you're also seeing what she's going through her eyes as well.
Yeah, because the whole bathtub is where the film's taking place,
Mhm.
and then you're just going through like
Through
the
the
flashbacks. I have a lot more I want to do with that script, and that was like a small version of that script, and it's nowhere near as big as I want it to be. But I might revisit. I might do that one for real.
That'll be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And in that film as well, did you do those drawings?
I did do those drawings.
Okay.
Yeah, I that's honestly, that scene with the therapist is one of my favorite things I've ever shot. I want to just take it out of that film and make it a thing itself, because that's my friend Mike Matola, and he is just like the most multi-talented human I know. And his acting in it and like the way that we designed that was the front waiting area of the hair salon that he owns with his wife, and it's like completely redone up to look like this office.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that scene just in general. So, but yeah, those drawings, the silly little drawings I did.
Yeah. That's what I was
I
wondering.
still have them somewhere.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
You can auction them one day.
One day when I'm like super famous.
Yeah, that'd be super dope. And then on the last one, Nowhere.
Oh yeah.
That was 2018, where you got the best art film.
I did.
The film
How
festival.
did you find that out?
I do my research. I mean,
I'm impressed. Like, wow. Like, oh.
Yeah, I was not ready for this.
he's like looking at my notes.
Hey, let me cheat, bro.
Yeah, we won best art film for that.
That's multiple choice. It's A, B, C. Yeah, and then because I was wondering, because like in some of your films you go black and white, like in the first one, and then you also went color on a few. And then when I was watching Nowhere, I was just like, I wonder why she picked black and white. But then as it progressed, you understood why, and I thought that was super cool.
Thank you. Yeah. I wanted to find a reason to do both in that film. It was my loose attempt at a noir, but not really though. It's just like a slightly inspired by that time period at least.
Okay. That's why you picked that
That's why
typeface and.
Yeah, and that's like her outfit and like the house. Yeah, it's pretty loosely inspired, because that's called No Budget.
Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering.
That was my apartment too.
I was wondering like where you, like what makes you choose a certain typeface for
font.
film.
Font is
yeah.
hard.
That's what I was wondering. I was just this one's so different from the other ones. I was like, oh. But then I also saw like you also used the same like title font in the I guess in the Poison that she uses as well on the actual box.
Wow, good eye. Yeah, that was.
So I was just like, oh, that's a good tie-in.
Because I like made that box.
Yeah,
I designed that to.
Yeah, it looks super cool.
Yeah.
It was just like a little
design.
like quirk thing. And I was just like, oh, it's super cool. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I was like, okay, so
See,
now I understand why.
I pack in all these really tiny details, and I don't think anyone will notice them. So it makes me feel good to know that like somebody saw it. Like, hey, that's the same font. Cool. It makes no difference in the world whatsoever, but it's just a fun detail that I put in there.
Yeah, and then which one was the last one? Oh yeah, so the last one was Womanhood. That one was cool.
That was my first proper attempt.
That one was
I think.
Intense.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad that's the intended reaction. I want you to be upset.
Yeah.
Everyone who watched it that week I released it, they were like, I'm upset. I'm like, oh good. I'm glad. That's what I want. I want to upset you, but that is true.
Yeah, and it sucks because like it's not even like a dramatization. Is that the correct word?
Yeah, it's pretty real.
It's reality, and like it sucks because, I have an older sister. Actually, I have two older sisters. And then like, if I become a dad one day, like I don't want my daughter to go through something like that. And like, I think it's kind of sad how like a lot of men don't take the minute to really like think about what they're doing. And
yeah, it's like habit, or you just never thought of it before. Like maybe you didn't mean any harm, but people need to be a little bit more aware of how they're operating in the world and around women and around each other, no matter what your gender is.
Yeah.
Like we just need to respect each other.
Yeah. And like it sucks too, because like like being at the age that we're at, like we're going to bars or we're going to clubs or whatever, and you see that, and it's just like that guy's such a dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, such a
those
douche.
chads of the world.
Yeah. I was just like, yeah, we can live without those guys.
Or just educate them, and hope that they can learn why those things are not okay, and like why behavior like that is so harmful.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know?
And talking about womanhood, the transition that you did with Valerie from the park to the coffee shop was dope.
Thanks. It was really hard.
I was gonna ask you how you did that too.
Yeah, I just tried to line up everything in the monitor, and I had my actress Beverly just just do the same face, just the same thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You edit your own films?
Mostly yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a control freak. No, it's mostly because I've just never had other people to help me. You know, like most of the work I've done is in college. We had teams, so I had people that helped, but they weren't necessarily, none of us, including myself, were professionals in any way. So we were just like making it work and doing our best and trying to make something. But now, as I move forward and I want to make things that are good and like put like real work in and hire people that this is what they do, you know, I find that it's more difficult, and then I end up doing a lot of it myself. So like womanhood, I made that with a couple of people, and we made that from concept to finished product in 1 month. And that's why there are some problems, but we don't need to point them out. But I really desperately want to make a film that I take my time in, and I have like a real team of people who can all do the jobs that they need to do, including myself. So that's my next thing when I get around to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a little while, but I got to make something soon, guys.
I know we're all waiting. We're going to post it on our Instagram at Bokeh Time when it comes out.
Oh, thanks.
Just so we can get that movement going on. For womanhood, like how did you, was this an idea that you had? Was it something that a client asked for? Or?
No, this was all me.
It was all you?
This was the first project I ever did that was just for me.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't in college anymore. Or when did I make that? I think I may have still been in college in my last semester or something, but it wasn't for school.
Okay.
It was for the film festival at that school. I had that goal. That's why I only spent a month. Was because I had to hit a deadline. But other than that, it was just for me. It was when the Kavanaugh trial was happening.
Can you refresh our memory on that?
So Christine Blasey Ford? We should fact check that. I don't know why I can never get her middle name correct. But when she came out that she was sexually assaulted by Kavanaugh in high school, and there was that whole... It's the start of the Me Too movement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like after like Harvey Weinstein and all of those stories came out, like the Me Too movement began around then. And as a woman who's experienced things like this, in general, I was upset. And I was like, I need to do something. I need to say something. And even if it's just a few people that see it, like I hope that I can at least show one person this film and make them think about what they've said and done to women before.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? And I felt like this is the kind of stuff I want to make. I want to shake people. And I want to be like, no, look what you're doing. Or look what these people are doing. Like we need to communicate and learn and grow and like become better humans, you know? So I came up with the concept of womanhood based on my own life, mostly. The last part is based on the Christine Dr. Ford's testimony. But yeah, I had a hard time making it because it was really personal.
Yeah.
You know? And it's kind of hard for me to watch back a lot of the time too, but it was really important to do it. And I had some good people around me who made it happen. You know, my actors were incredible and they were all on board. And it was like, it was traumatic for me to shoot that bedroom scene. You know, I was like, oh God, I was holding the camera for that. It was just me and the actors and the audio guy for some of it. And it was really hard to do that. We did a lot of takes, and I didn't want to push too much for it. And even the actors were like, no, we can do that better. I was like, oh God, like I can barely handle this, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
But I knew that because if I was feeling that way in the room in the moment, I knew that it would be impactful in the film if I pulled it off correctly. So I feel really good about that film.
Yeah, that was a really like seeing like what I liked that I did because like when I went to your YouTube channel, um, it showed woman. Actually, no, it showed something else first, but then after that, it was womanhood, and then it showed like like your other short films. So that's why I was like, no, let me see her oldest stuff and then make the progression to her newer stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I like the fact like seeing like I think what did you say, Vo? Is that what it is?
Vu.
So seeing Vu and then from where you progress all the way through womanhood, you can tell like you've gotten really good at your craft.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I feel that's one of the main reasons I leave those things up because they're old little short films from college. Like they're not a thing, but I do love for myself to see the progression that I had. And it reminds me that like, no, keep doing this because you've already had some decent progression. Like I'm curious to see what I make next, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So I hope that people like, that's really nice that you were able to look through it and feel that way too. I really want to I'm going to make good stuff, you know?
I can totally see the potential in that. And so since we're talking about Cypress College, what did you do after Cypress College?
I started my own business.
Oh, shit.
So I've had my own business for like roughly 2 years now.
Okay.
I do content creation for private clients. So
That's right.
yeah, I like run Instagram accounts, take photos, do a little design, kind of like whatever they need. I just have a few that I can do by myself. If I get any new clients, I'm going to have to hire help. I'm like, this is a lot of work, guys.
How difficult is it to create content for like Instagrams and stuff?
It just depends on who the client is. So I have a coffee shop, which is the easiest one. And I have the Long Beach Police Foundation.
Okay.
So I do a lot of their events and take photos of those things and post about like membership and like whatever they need. And then I have this tech company in San Pedro.
Okay.
And they're cool. They just want me to post about what it's like to be an employee at their company. So it's like a lifestyle account.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 3 very different things, but it's fun and it doesn't take it doesn't take me 40 hours a week, you know. So I have time to work on other projects like my photography and my short films and writing, and I have some other smaller projects. Like I also have a podcast and I have a small comedy troupe as well. So
that's cool.
I've got a few other things.
What's your podcast called?
It's called New Fire.
New Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you talk about like music, movies, and
TV.
And TV.
Yeah, it's fun. My friend Jonathan, that I've known since high school, it's his podcast, and I jumped on as co-host in season 2, and so now we're working on season 3.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about you being a filmmaker, what were some of your favorite films growing up? Since you couldn't give me one specific one.
Yeah, it's so tough. It's so hard to pick, but my biggest loves have always been classic sci-fi. So I grew up loving Star Trek and Star Wars. I have really fond memories of movies like Indiana Jones and The Mummy and like those like adventure films. I really liked those. And then I got a little older. It's so hard to choose. It's like asking, you know, whenever you ask any creative what their favorite thing
and
is.
it's difficult to pinpoint
like,
one, yeah. But it's just like to name a few, just so people can.
To name a few, like, you mean growing up or
growing up?
Growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I loved. Well, the thing about it is, I wasn't really allowed to watch a lot of things as a kid. I was very sheltered, and like my dad only let me watch what he liked, which was classic sci-fi. So that's why I have so much classic sci-fi, but I also wasn't allowed to watch anything else. But I did also love watching like shitty comedies.
What would you consider a shitty comedy?
Like Anchorman.
Okay.
Like, you know, like, but they're hilarious.
Yeah.
I really enjoy comedy so much. I wish that I was funny. I don't think I'm funny, so it's a shame that I can't make the thing also, but I'll just like be a producer or something. I know funny people, so I'll be like, here, make this. Make it funny. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I think besides that, it was just a lot of like Alien. Oh my God, that movie. Oh, forever one of my favorite films. And yeah, I watched a lot of Star Trek.
Who's
which was a TV show?
Who's your favorite captain?
Picard.
Picard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see this is my
Oh, okay, yeah.
Tattoo is a Next Generation emblem.
So yeah, so our listeners, if you're listening to us on your car, she just showed us a tattoo of a Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah, the Next Generation.
Actually haven't gotten that far. So like,
what?
So the reason I got into Star Trek is because of Big Guns Mike.
Oh yeah, of
Saying
course.
that he's a big Star Trek fan. So I started all the way back from like
the original
Captain
series.
Kirk.
Yeah, the original series is great. I'm not discrediting it at all. Like you must watch that, but you need to watch Next Generation.
I just haven't gotten to so many episodes.
Yeah, but every show has a lot of episodes.
That is true.
You know, it's good. It's a good background show. I guess that's only true if you've seen it a million times, like I have. But I would like. It is old, and there are some things that are hard to get through when you're watching older shows. But it is so worth the time.
That is.
To see the stories that they tell. The way that they produce Next Generation is one of the main reasons I love it so much. Like the way it's written is stunning. It's just such a good storytelling show.
Are you watching the new series of Picard?
I will be.
Okay.
I haven't gotten around to it yet. I feel like such a bad fan. I haven't watched Discovery or Picard yet.
Okay.
Just all these extra subscriptions, you know? I'm like,
Dude, I thought Star Trek was only a movie.
what?
That was a show.
Started as a show.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's one of the first sci-fi TV shows. It's from the 60s.
So cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was so crazy to see William Shatner so young.
I know, he's a little baby.
And Leonard Nimoy too.
Oh my god.
Because I love Leonard Nimoy in Fringe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like to see
I
him
just
younger.
love him. Yeah.
It was just so cool.
I love him.
It sucks
Have you read his
though.
books?
No.
You should read his books.
I'm not a reader.
What?
I don't read books.
Podcast or audiobook? No?
No. Still a book.
Well, I would recommend picking it up.
Okay, I will.
I like I Am Spock.
Oh, okay. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I remember Jonathan had a question for you on a scene of womanhood. Remember?
Oh, I forgot.
Oh no.
Okay, so Jonathan Jonathan wanted to know how you filmed that party scene.
Oh, yeah. So it was my friend's house, and we had.
Okay.
You just remembered the question.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It was my friend's house, and she was nice enough to let us use. And I had a handful of extras. Most of those people were also crew, and we needed some like costumes. So it's like dollar store costumes, and the it was really a small space. There weren't a lot of people, but I wanted it to look like a party.
It did look like a party. Yeah, it wasn't like there's only like two people there.
There's like one person. No, I'm kidding. I don't remember.
It was me again. I was the extra in the back.
They were all me.
Yeah. It was me all along. Yeah.
So when you do a film, like, what does the crew consist of?
Well, you need at least a director, or the writer, director, the person with the idea. So you need the idea. And then you need somebody doing camera, somebody doing audio, and someone doing lighting. Like those are the bare bones. A lot of the times, like that can be a team of 2 people to do all those jobs. Don't recommend it, but a lot of my films were made with like just me doing all of that, or like with a helper, or 2. So when you're doing a bigger production, though, it makes way more sense to have at least one audio guy specifically with mixing and the boom and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then the camera guy who can also be the cinematographer who's doing camera operation and lighting. Having teams of assistants to help with each of those jobs is really helpful. Having a producer, like I really love having a AD, an assistant director, who is just a producer pretty much. And they're the one that keeps you on time and says like, okay, we have this place for this long and we need these scenes. And so like they have the power to tell the director no more takes, or like they kind of run the show non-creatively. So that person's really important. I've been that person a few times too, it's fun.
And then how many cameras do you use?
Typically just one.
Just one.
If you have the budget, more is good, but usually I don't have a budget at all, so.
Do you have your go-to camera? Is it like your setup for that, or do you do rentals?
We do rentals, yeah.
Okay.
I say we like there's more than one person. It's just me, guys. I used to work with a team from college, but
Okay.
they had their own stuff. They had a GH4, and we used that for most of those shorts. My first one, Vu, was literally just me and my DSLR that I still use to this day for photography.
Is that the Lumix?
No, it's just a Canon.
Just a Canon?
It's a Canon T6i. It's
T6i,
like a
okay.
Rebel series. It's nothing fancy at all. But it's my little baby, and I've been using it. I need to upgrade. That's a goal this year. But that's what I did for Vu, and I did all of that alone. And then same thing with Coffee Trip, actually, come to think of it. So Ordinary was the first time I used it like a crew, because that was one that I did in college with like that group that I got together. Mm-hmm. And we used the GH4, and we used like real lighting because our school provided equipment, so we were able to just use the equipment. And then the same thing for Nowhere. And then Womanhood was their own equipment that they had. I don't think we had to rent anything, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then when I did the music videos after this, that was some rentals and some like other things added in.
Mm. There was a question I was going to ask you, and I already forgot it.
Oh no.
I'm trying to remember. Do you have any questions, Jonathan? I'm trying to remember my question.
December to remember?
December to That's not even a question.
I'm trying to help you remember here, bro.
What was I gonna? I already forgot. I got like so into what you were saying that I totally forgot my question. Do you have a dream setup?
I'm not that big on the technical side as much as I want to be. Well, I don't want to be, but I'm much more about like concept and creating something and coming up with the ideas and directing. So I have a hard time really digging into the tech. So no.
I just remember my question. So when you direct a film, do you like also being the cinematographer?
There
you go. No? Because I noticed in a lot of your films, it's like the same guy, Tommy, I think?
Yeah, that's my ex-boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he and I worked together on a lot of projects.
Okay.
He was part of that team I was talking about. And
okay.
yeah, and we had some other friends that you'll see build and in all of those things. Tony, Mario. We had like a bit of a production company that we had started.
Oh, that's cool.
And we started building, and life happens, and
yeah, for sure.
Womanhood was the last thing we all did together.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so is there a reason why you don't like being the
cinematographer?
Yeah.
It's a weird word. Because, and it's not that I don't like it, because I've found that I like the concepts when I'm doing photography. I really enjoy playing with lighting. But I like playing with lighting in photography. Okay. I have a hard time thinking about an entire scene and how I want to light it and everything. I'm like, oh God, no, someone else, please. Someone else do that. Thank you. I just want to talk about what's happening in the frame and like how I want it shot, and then tell them what to do. Mostly because I just know that it's not my strong suit. So I haven't succeeded at it in ways that I feel are worth like practicing. I feel way more drawn to practicing directing and writing and concept and producing. I really enjoy producing too. So I try to focus more on those things. And then let someone who actually loves cinematography do their job.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a couple of people that I call on. I have a few projects on the way that will be with new cinematographers and new people that are really good at their job. And I'm excited to like let them have a thing to do, Yeah,
for sure.
Because filmmaking is all about teamwork. And that's something I love about it so much that I don't want to be a one-woman crew at all.
Yeah,
but I
also sure,
don't want to put all my eggs in one basket either. So it's like, finding the right people.
That's just a lot of like, causes a lot of anxiety to have like everything be put on you.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just nice to like allocate the work to other people.
Yeah.
Especially people that are good at what they do.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's way more important and fulfilling is to have a good team put together and like let everyone do what they're good at.
Yeah. That way it'll let you do what you're best at and like create ideas or maybe if you were busy with something else, maybe you wouldn't have gotten the idea to do another shot or something.
Exactly. If I'm running audio, I may have just missed something that my actor did that I could have captured if I would have noticed it or could have worked on, So I I learned all that the hard way. I was like doing everything I could when I was making things before, feeling like I had to be the one at every station.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just setting myself up for failure, really.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's better to share the work and share the glory if we get that far, you know?
Yeah. And since you're trying to do your own, like, your own films and stuff, how do you know what shot is the best shot for the scene? Because I'm looking at all your short films and like I'm just like, oh, that's a good shot. Like, how did you even come up with the idea of like, okay, maybe like make the camera go this way, like, or have it move this way, or, you know?
That's kind of like when I was inspired by Edgar Wright when I was younger, seeing how he tells a story within a frame, and then studying that in school when we would watch his films and videos about it. I've always really been drawn to what's called mise en scène, and it's when you have everything in place for a certain reason and you tell the story visually, and you're not using the dialogue to tell the story. In the scene, you're showing very specific things for a certain reason, and each way you frame something can cause a certain feeling. It can cause so for example, if I want to make if my actor I want to show you that they feel anxious, then I might do like a really close-up shot where the background's not in focus and we're just kind of like in their head. And you'll feel, even though I'm not saying that, you're going to look at it and you're going to feel that way because I've made you feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Or like something I'm doing in something I'm doing in an upcoming music video is I'm showing that two people are very separate by always having them on opposite ends of the frame. Even if they're standing right next to each other, there's always space between the two of them. And so you never see them like together. So you already are understanding that they're separate, or there's like always something between them, literally, you know? So like those are markers of directing that I really, really was drawn to in the very beginning of wanting to be a director. It's not just the storytelling, like the script or anything. It's also visually how things are framed and like what I can say with it. And
since you're a filmmaker, how did you make that transition to like start taking photos as well?
Yeah, you know, sorry, don't mind me. I'm just dying a little. So when I've always enjoyed taking photos. I feel like that's something that most people enjoy doing, is taking photos. We all have cameras in our pockets. Like it's not difficult to do. And I've always been around people that take photos, and like photography has kind of been something in my life for a long time, but I never thought it was something I would do. And then in the last like couple of years, I found out that I can take photos and put them on Instagram and make money that way. So that's helpful, you know. I'm like, hey, I can do this thing that's still kind of creative, and I don't have to have a day job. Or if I have a day job, this is like good extra money. Like it's a helpful skill to have. So I got better. I tried to get better at that. And then I started taking photos of like Taylor and of my friends, and realized I really enjoy taking portraits of people. And so I've been working on doing more of that. And then people have noticed and they've hired me, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm a photographer. Yeah. That's fun. You know, I have a lot of, it's kind of like a subsection of directing almost, is because I'm designing a frame and I'm showing something, and that's usually my goal, is like to show, typically what I try to do. I'm not always sure if it really works out, but what I'm trying to do is take a portrait of someone and show the real person, and still find like what's flattering about them. I don't want them to look ugly, but I also want them to look real. Yeah. You know, I'm like, this is what you look like. I'm not going to edit the hell out of it. I'm going to do a little bit, but nothing crazy. I want you like wearing the clothes that you love in a place that you love, just being yourself. And I want to capture that. So I've tried doing that with some of my portraits. I think I've done an okay job.
You've done a really good job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because I see you as a filmmaker and like a portrait photographer.
Oh, yeah. I definitely like portrait photography more than I do like landscape or coffee. Coffee's fun too, but Like I don't feel passionate about taking a picture of a mug as like I do a person. I feel like it helps me understand things in a way that I can use for my directing too.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I was gonna ask you when it comes to like portrait photography. How do you handle, like, I guess your subject? Like, how do you direct them?
How do I direct them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it really overlaps nicely. It depends if I know the person. A lot of those people on my Instagram are my friends, so they already feel comfortable in that way.
That's good.
Hopefully. I'm like, we're friends. It's fine. People like Taylor, she's a natural. I don't have to do very much at all. I'm like, that last shoot we did, I'm like, just do your thing. I'm going to take photos of it. You're amazing. So I don't direct her very often. It's great when I have a subject who's just good, who knows their angles and who's good at doing that. I'm like, wow, you are perfect. Cool. But then I have people who are like new to it, like girl with blue hair. Her name's Catherine. She's a friend of mine as well. And I wanted to do portraits of her because her hair was so cool. She had just gotten it done. And I had access to a studio and I was like, let's go do a photo shoot. This will be fun. And she'd never had one like that before. So she was, even though we're friends, like a little bit nervous at first. And so I did my best to like make her laugh and like make her comfortable. And I made her do really silly stuff that never got used. But like I had her stand on a chair and like hold on to the ceiling. I was like, I knew in my head, I'm like, this is not going to be one of the photos, but I want her to feel silly. Yeah. So I'm going to make her do something silly, you know? And then she did. And the photo after that was one of the ones I used because she got like this feeling, you know, and like I got her into a different level of comfort. So it was really fun to do it that way, you know? Yeah. So that's usually and then if I work with someone who I'm not friends with, who I've taken like portraits for, one of my clients, and with them, I just like compliment them, try to make them like at ease. A lot of the time I'm at their house and I bring my kit to them. So they're already comfortable at home. And there was one woman who was really self-conscious about her, just her face in general. And so I asked her why. I was like, well, why do you feel that way? You know, I don't think anyone in a normal circumstance would ever say that. But when I'm trying to take a photo of you and you're making a sour face because you're uncomfortable, I'm like, okay, well, tell me what's wrong. Tell me what insecurity are you thinking about that you think I'm picking up? Because maybe I can position you differently, or maybe you are just, you know, not seeing yourself clearly. And so you think, oh, I don't like how my chin looks in this. And I'm like, well, your chin looks fine. So you're fine. Don't worry. You know, like I get it. I totally get it. But, or they might say something and I'll realize, oh, yeah, that does look kind of weird. Let me adjust so that the shadow looks better. Something like that. So there was this one woman who was really uncomfortable and like really self-deprecating. And so I complimented her genuinely. I was like, well, this is something about you that's nice. Maybe you should feel better about that. And then we ended up deciding on like a serious face instead of a smile because she didn't like something about her smile. So just like little things like that are moments of direction, I think. And
since you're talking about one of your friends, the girl with the blue hair, Catherine, where did you get that shot in downtown LA? There's
Which
really
one?
good shot. I want to say.
Oh, the ones that we just did recently. Those were fun little iPhone shots.
Oh, they were on iPhone. Okay.
Yeah, those were because I did her portraits in a studio before that a while ago, and then we were actually going to a Conan taping.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we were in Burbank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and were all those? No, not all of those. Some of those were in LA, in like downtown.
Yeah, it looked like a shopping mall.
Oh, almost. Yeah, the one where she's like in the bottom of the frame and it's like
I think so.
Like there are lights and stuff. That was over by this taco place called Guisados.
Oh, okay. Guisados. Okay.
Yeah, like I feel like I said that wrong.
It's okay. I've been mispronouncing words in this podcast. It's okay.
Yeah, so that's where we were. So it's there.
Oh,
it's that little like strip right there.
What do you take when you go take these portraits? What's your equipment?
You guys, I'm so fancy. No, it's just my little Canon T6i Rebel and the stock lens.
And then any flash or
no, that's literally it.
Oh shit!
I've got like a nice strap.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't have anything fancy. I want to upgrade because I don't feel like the quality of my images looks as nice as it could. So I that's like the main reason I want to upgrade, or just get a better camera body, get a good lens.
Anything in mind?
No, I like Canon. I'm not even sure. Honestly, I've been thinking a lot about trying film. So I was gonna start shopping for a film camera.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like maybe I should try it. Be a fun little hobby to add in. Do some film photography. But yeah, like I said before, I'm not that much into the technical stuff.
Okay.
I try to be, but it's not my strong suit.
Do you have any other areas of photography that you're like open to exploring besides portrait, or is it just like?
I like portrait the most. I've done a little bit of landscape, but I don't really feel passionate about that. Like, yeah, I feel like anybody can take a picture of this mountain, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not me. I don't think that my picture of this mountain is any better than anyone else's. Like, or no, that's not true. I feel like there are people that can take a way better photo of a mountain than me. Like,
Okay.
why would I? You know what I mean?
I understand what you mean.
And it's just not really my thing. But I like human beings. So I feel like that's just naturally what's happened. And so I'm going to keep doing that, I think.
Have you tried music photography since you like taking pictures?
I've done it. I don't like it.
You don't? Oh, I love it.
I don't like action. I have got a number of projects that were of live music that are not online because they didn't turn out well, and I'm like, why do I keep saying yes to these things? I'm not good at these, shooting live stuff.
What was it, a low light situation? Was it
It's always like low light, and I'm using the wrong shutter speed, and I'm just not well versed enough to really pull off a good action shot.
I can help you with that if you want.
Oh, maybe. I don't enjoy it, so I feel like I don't really care to work on it if I don't like it that much. But like, I'd rather leave those jobs to people who enjoy it because it's fun.
Super fun.
Yeah, but like people like you could absolutely like thrive in that environment, and I'd be over here like, oh God, that was terrible. Why am I doing this? You know?
Yeah,
like let's go do a studio shoot. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, that's one of the things too that I'm trying to transition out of, is just doing live performances, because I want to do like some of the shots that you do with Fellow Robot, like outside and like with light.
Yeah,
like,
it's all just outdoors.
Yeah, outdoors.
Yeah, and like I didn't bring anything. I just brought my camera.
That's cool.
And
shots came out awesome. They keep using them, so that's cool.
Thanks. I know they do keep using them. Every time I see it, I'm like,
cool
oh, that's my photo.
That's the one thing I love about them.
Yeah, they're such good guys.
Yeah. Do you have any questions, Jonathan?
Nope. No more questions.
Okay. So since we're coming to a close, that's everything. There's one more thing that I wanted to talk about was let's talk.
Oh no. my little
your little
experiment.
Like 4 minute. Yeah. What happened to that?
Nobody. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't really know what the point of it was.
Okay.
I'm I don't know. I have a lot of ideas. I'm somebody that has tons of ideas and no time to do any of them. And so that was one of those. One day I was bored and I was like, I wrote this short, like almost like essay, and I felt like it would sound nice spoken. And so I recorded it with my podcast equipment that I had just bought at that time. And I was like, I feel like I could do something with this. So I put one of my photos up and threw that audio over it and put it on. And I thought I could make this into like a show where sort of like not a talking back and forth podcast, but like where I get someone to tell a story in that way and kind of edit it so it sounds like really clean. So I mean, I might still do something with that concept, but it didn't really, like, nothing happened with it. I didn't do anything. I just put it there. I was like, here.
Yeah, because that was the first, when I went to your YouTube channel, that's the first thing that I saw.
Oh, yeah, because it's the most recent
It's the most recent stuff. And I liked it. It was super dope. You should continue to do it. Like, I kind of feel like it's kind of difficult to kind of get feedback on stuff like that.
Everyone I showed it to directly, they liked it. And I was like, well, that's good. but you're all my friends. So, so thank you for your support, but I don't believe you.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like not only as like individuals, but also as creatives, I feel like we're very harsh on ourselves.
Oh, yes.
So that's why I enjoyed that, because you're someone that is a creative and a human being. So like, I think one thing that's important for all of us is just to love ourselves. And I feel like not enough people do that.
Yeah. And it's so hard. Like when I made that, I really felt that way. And then I got my bad days, where I'm just like, why am I trying at all? Like, and then the next day I'm like, maybe I'll make something today. It's just, you can never predict your ups and downs. And it's important to come back to that and remember, like, no, I'm doing this for a reason. And I like this about myself. And I want to cultivate and nurture those things about myself and stop like the negative self-talk and being mean. And like, you got to control what's happening in your head and not have imposter syndrome all the time, like keep you from doing something that you love.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it was about.
Yeah, that's exactly what I took it as too. And like, I think it's so important to like take care of yourself for you, because no one else is gonna do that.
I know. Yeah.
So like, if you're your like biggest critic, like you're not gonna.
You're just hurting yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I should listen to my own words right now.
It's like which one was it? It's like Coffee Trip. Like,
yeah. Don't sabotage yourself.
Don't sabotage yourself. Yeah. Full circle, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited like for my future, and I really want to make good stuff and take good photos and tell good stories and connect with people. Like that is all I want in my life. There's those things.
That's
and
cool.
like a nice house.
Yeah. Not in Long Beach, right? Because it's too expensive.
I love Long Beach, but it is too expensive.
It's expensive.
I don't know where, but not LA either. So
yeah, not LA either. You probably had to like I mean, there's affordable houses in like Riverside and like those ugly towns.
Riverside, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's really bad. Like Palmdale. Like,
dude,
it's so far.
Palmdale. You know what Palmdale's, dude? Have you seen that new Netflix documentary about that kid, Gabriel Fernandez?
Oh no, it came out yesterday, right?
It came out like Wednesday.
Okay.
It like takes like that little kid was abused in Palmdale, which is
Palmdale.
crazy.
Wow.
I'm like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah, like that's the one thing that sucks is like places like Long Beach or like some nice areas in San Pedro. Like it's expensive.
It is. It's nice, but it's expensive. Yeah. It's California.
Yeah.
So we'll see though. Maybe one day I'll make enough money to have a nice house here.
That'd be cool. And then you can use some of your square footage as a tax write-off because you work from your home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have any tips for any like filmmakers that are starting out?
I'm still one of those. So who am I to give you tips? Well,
just things that you've learned along the way that like, oh, I should remember that for next time.
Well, I just feel like everyone should be open to working with other people. Be respectful, don't shoot your ideas down before you even try. Like maybe my silly little short film that I made for school turned out to be like all right, and someone got something from it. Like that's awesome. I could have just never made it. So maybe don't get discouraged too easily. Like keep trying, because this is an industry full of like rejection, and you are going to fail, and like you can't be afraid of that. So those are some good things that I'm just recycling honestly from other people. Just keep doing the thing, just do the thing, guys. If you like it, do the thing.
Yeah, for sure. So where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I have 2 accounts. I have my just normal one for me at Ren D'Anelli, and then at Ren D'Anelli Films is my portfolio. I have a website. It's rendanellifilms.com. And, YouTube, everything's linked together. So
you have a Patreon too?
Technically I do. It's there. But I haven't done anything with it yet. I had to make it go live because I was grandfathered into like old pricing because I had signed up a long time ago and just never made the page live. But so it's there. I'll do something with it one day, probably when I have time.
Yeah.
But yeah, mainly right now, I'm on Instagram,
Okay.
and my work goes there, and my photography is posted on
Follow.
there, and
I just followed.
follow. Thank you.
Co-host just followed. So yeah.
How
So
nice.
since we're closing out, you can follow Jonathan at the Shake and Bake. You can follow me at Mike Ballesteros Photo. You can also follow the Bokeh Time podcast on Instagram at Bokeh Time Pod. If you want to get in contact with us, or if you want us to send a message for you to Ren, you can send us an email to bokehtimepod@gmail.com. Thanks for having us, and we'll catch you on the next one.